What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to 55 Fandom. Okay, I've just come out of seeing Disney Pixar's new film, Hoppers. Now listen, let's talk about Pixar because after the release of Toy Story 4, Pixar kinda went on a downslide and a decline. So, I know a lot of people like it. I don't really like it. I love the start of it and I love the concept, but when we're in the afterlife, it kind of gets quite childish, silly, and boring. Onward, complete fail, complete misfire. That was not good. Luca, I really liked, but a lot of people didn't. Elio was just good. Turning Red was not good. Elemental was really good. I'll give it that. Elemental was the glimmering hope that Pixar could get back to the way it was. And Lightyear was awful. Don't even talk to me about Lightyear. So then we look at this film. We look at Hoppers. Guys, in my books, it's as good as Elemental, and it's one of the best Pixar films in years. One of the best Pixar original ideas in years as well. Pixar have simple concepts, and from that simple concepts, then you get the big films. Monsters Inc. Monsters scare children to create energy. Great film. Incredibles. Superpowered beings are illegal. Simple plot. Great film. Toy Story. Toys are alive. Simple plot. Great film. And Hoppers is basically that. It's a simple plot. Human goes into beaver robot and causes chaos. And this chaos is so fun. This film is actually really quite funny. It's quite horrifying as well. There's a lot of horror elements to this film. So it's actually quite cool when you get to the third act. It's actually quite creepy. I was getting a bit creeped out, but I was loving it. The villain, I will say, is not very strong. We have a few villains. We have a human villain. The human villain is obviously mirroring us, the modern day audience. Or not all of us, but the humans that don't really care about nature. Then we have a bug butterfly rising up and being evil. That was quite generic, I'll give it that. The film did get quite generic when that bug was like, I'm gonna squash all the humans. Now, people say this film is like Avatar. I would disagree. The only similar thing is that you're jumping bodies, but Jake Sully didn't jump into a beaver. Like, they didn't steal that from Avatar. The animation is also beautiful, but Pixar films are so beautifully animated. But I'd say this one is really beautifully animated. Same level as Elio. Although Elio is just a good Pixar film, it was beautifully animated. And this one is, as well, beautifully animated. We also have a really strong main character that everyone can relate to. This is the main thing. I even found myself liking Mabel. I even found similarities to Mabel. And they tried to do the up thing with the grandma, and I can't lie, it kind of worked for me. I was actually getting really invested about the grandma, and I got really sad that she died. And it was working. That emotional hook that you know from Pixar was there. I was surprised. George, what a great beaver. What a great character. My spirit animal. Oh my goodness me, George was amazing. His choreo, his positivity, he really served as a really good opposite to Mabel, and they really balanced each other out. Their friendship really worked. It felt real. Because in real life, opposites usually attract. Not just for relationships, which that was so funny as well, but also for friendships. And when Mabel is like poked or popped out of the beaver form and you just see George as a beaver and he doesn't have like the animated expressions, it is so sad to see his reaction. I was actually crying, and the little like that they gave him, so cute. What I will say is that the side characters are kind of a weak point of this film, and we do go into the fantastical. If we were, and I am a fan like this, so I'm so sorry, if we were going to fit this into the Pixar theory, this would have to be like years and years, still in the human life, but this would have to be years after Toy Story. It would be weird to fit this into the Pixar theory because it's so fantastical, and sometimes we do things in this film where we're like, okay, we get it, but we're going to suspend our disbelief, but we're doing some things here that just wouldn't happen. But again, it's an animated movie. Who cares? Things can happen. Cartoons, they can survive anything, right? So I don't really mind that. The animation kind of reminded me of the bad guys. Not because of like the style, but like the facial expressions kind of remind me of the bad guys. Not necessarily a bad thing. It's nice to see Pixar doing some different animation styles. This score is quite weak because there's a reason. This film focuses on silence and nature. It makes nature an instrument in the film, and I actually think that's quite unique and effective. While I'm a musical man, I do music A level, I would have liked some music. I actually think that making nature music is actually really smart and a really nice way of storytelling. The climax made sense, the dam, it was emotional, it was good. Dude, this was a really good Pixar film. I'm actually really surprised. I'll give this a solid 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you, Pixar, for a banger. This is, like, when this was announced, I thought, oh, this is going to be terrible. But after coming out of that film, that film was a banger. That was a really good Pixar film. Mabel is kind of not unlikable, but she has a tendency to kind of maybe get under some people's skin, and she does rat out Jerry and his whereabouts. However, it is good to follow an unlikable character. You can't have likable characters all the time. Woody, he was a complete jock in Toy Story 1, but now we've grown to love him, right? So if they do Hoppers 2, Hoppers 3, we can really explore Mabel dealing with her anger and her frustration, but you can see why she's pushed to this. You can see why her character is like this. She's a nature activist, and no one is helping her. That's where George comes in. So really, this film was actually a Pixar film, and what I mean by that, it was imaginative. It was thought about well. We had relatable characters, where they're going to go, the arcs. Great Pixar film. 8 out of 10. Go see Hoppers.